Good day, everyone. I'm here to answer and explain to you the question, what are the basic lines of inquiry in arson investigation? But first, I will explain to you what is fire investigation. Fire investigation. In the Philippines, the Bureau of Fire Protection or BFP is the main government agency responsible for the prevention and suppression of all destructive fires on buildings, houses, and other structures, forest, land transportation, vehicles and equipments, ships or vessels, at piers or major seaports, petroleum industry installation, plane crashes, and other similar incidents, as well as enforcement of the fire code and other related cases. It has also the major power to investigate all causes of fire and necessary, file the proper complaints with the proper authority that has jurisdiction over the fire cases. So, in the fire scene, the arson investigator needs to begin examining a fire scene or signs of arson as soon as the fire has been extinguished. In fire investigation, they must know where is the fire and they must determine the source or origin of fire, or where did it begin or start, and or was it intentional. The criminalist or the arson investigator must detect and identify relevant chemical materials, identifying igniters or detonating mechanism, and reconstruct the events. Normally, a fire has a tendency to move in an upward direction, and thus the probable origin will most likely be the lowest point, showing the most intense character of burning. Fortunately, combustible liquids are rarely entirely consumed during a fire. So now, what are the basic lines of inquiry in fire investigation? First is the point of origin of fire. Second, motives of arsonist. Then prime suspect, and the last, the telltale signs of arsons. The search of the fire scene must focus on finding the fire origin, which may be the most productive in any search for accelerate or any ignition device. So the point of origin of fire is the most important point to be established and to determine what particular place in the building the fire started, and maybe by an examination of the witness, by inspection of the debris and the fire scene, and also by studying the fingerprint of the point of origin would be established. So, what is the fingerprint of fire? It occurs during the free burning stage of the fire. Pyrolytical decomposition moves upward on the walls, leaving a blunt pattern. And also, there are fire setting mechanisms that is part of points of origin of fire, which are matches, candles, electrical systems, mechanical, and chemical methods. The second one is motive of arsonist, which is to understand the motives of arsonist. The arson investigator have to note the following that fire are set by person with motives, those with desire to defraud the injurer. Second is employees or such other persons who have a grievance or has intent of fire revenge. And those who desire to conceal evidence of a crime. And those who set fire for purposes or intimidation. People without motives are those who are mentally ill, pathological fire setters, and pyros and psychos. Motives of arsonists, which has five components. First is economic gain, concealment of crime, punitive measures, intimidation or economic disabling, and pyromania. Pyromania is the uncontrollable impulse of a person to burn anything without motivation. And what is pyromaniac? It is a person that having the uncontrollable impulse to burn anything without motivation. They do not run away from the fire scene since they love watching fire burning. These are the types of pyromania: abnormal youth, heterotype, drug addicts and alcoholics, and sexual deviates and perverts. Types of pyromania. First, abnormal youth. Those have epileptics, imbecile, and morons that don't have knowing about the seriousness of the act they did, or katong mga naigamay or wala nga tao nga wala kasayod kung unsa ka seryoso ilang gibuhat nga krimen. Ang second one is the hero type. A person that set a building on fire and pretends to discover, turn on the alarm, or make some rescue work to appear as hero to the public, or katong mga tao nga pakaaron ignon nga hero nga sila mo'y nakakuan sa kalayo, di ay sila ang nag-produce ato nga activity. Mga tao nga pakaaron ignon kunuhay nga sila nakadiscovery, or kumbaga para mapansin pud sila sa publiko, mga paaron ignon ba. The third one is alcoholics and drug addicts. Person who subjects themselves to intense artificial stimulants such as narcotics sometimes develop a strong urge towards incendiaries, or mga tao nga mga palahubog or mga drug addict nga posible nga mga gigil or magka-intensyon para or magka-trip, kumbaga mga tripping sa pagbuhat sa mga butang. The last one is sexual deviates. Some sex perverts derive sexual stimulation from setting a fire and watching the flame. He is chronic masturbator who stimulates and enhances sexual gratification by means of arson, or mga tao nga mga sexually active or murag matughan na silang ginawa kung kita sila kalayo, or ang ilang estilo is mabos ilang gana if involved ang kalayo. Then in that case pod sa mga alcoholic and drug addicts is possible sila nga ma-involve sa kalayo kay nga na bisag unsa na mahuna-hunaan nila, mga tripping. Then isa pod is mga sigarilyo nga pataka raglabay. Then third one is prime suspects and the prima facie evidence. The development of the prime suspects includes identification, results from the full development of leads, clues, and traces. The testimony particularly are those mga eyewitnesses, and the development of expert testimony. And the following techniques may serve the investigation. successfully. It has also four components, which are the search of the fire scene for physical evidences, a protection of the scene, mechanics of search, collection and preservation of evidences, and laboratory aids. Second is the background study of policyholders, occupants of premises, owner of building, or other person having major interest in the fire. Third one is interviews and interrogation of persons who discovered the fire and the one who turned the first alarm, firemen, and eyewitnesses. And the last one is surveillance. The telltale sign of arson. This sign may be obvious that the first fireman at the scene will be suspects arson, or they may be so well concealed that much of patient investigation to show that it is set off will be required by burned building, separate fires determined by color of smoke, color of flame, amount of heat, smoke marks, sign of fire, direction of travel, intensity, odor, and condition of content.
Well, the sky is finally open. The rain and wind stop blowing, but you're stuck out in the same old storm again. You hold tight to your umbrella, but darling, I'm just trying to tell ya that there's always been a rainbow hanging on